All right, I just went live. Aloha, everybody. Sending love from my heart to yours. Just going to give a moment or two for anyone who was planning on joining us to come on so that we can get a conversation going. And I want to remind everybody about what the topic is today, which is really something near and dear to my heart and something that I'm definitely in process with myself. And this is about the importance of embodying our thought leadership and our unique medicine. And my love, Amrit, is joining us in just a moment as well. He was making some breakfast for us, and we're going to have some brunch and chat here. So I'm just going to take a moment to share this as well. Okay. Share the link. Sure. I'm going to go grab the food. So here's our beautiful meal that Amrit prepared. Okay. So thank you for joining for this, what I feel to be an important and crucial topic right now. And really, ultimately, from my perspective, why we're here. I believe that each of us who is feeling the potency of this time and is witnessing what's happening going on our planet right now and feeling compelled to somehow contribute in a beneficial and productive way to maybe there's a sense of urgency in your waking life where you are seeing what's going on the planet and maybe even in your own sphere. I think everybody can agree that these are intense times on our planet. And so this is the context of kind of where we find ourselves. And my beloved Amrit is up a lot more on this than I do in terms of these ancient prophecies and wisdom traditions and the turning of the tide that's happening right now, and it's it's something that's talked about in many cultures and many traditions, and even astrologically, if you follow astrology or at all, you know that we are in a time of great flux and transformation and change. Welcome. Here's Amrit. So yeah, would you love to share anything about these times we're in and just what you feel about them and this now moment? Anything you have to say about these times we're in? Just to create some context for our conversation.
Yeah. Gosh, there's a lot that I could say. To wrap it into the context of this now moment in this video, we are going to be talking about embodiment specifically and how we can participate in a solution oriented fashion. And so, to me, I have a strong warrior archetype. I've got a lot of fire. I've got a lot of physical prowess in this body. And so I uh, turn my what is happening around me in any difficulty as like an external environment, which undoubtedly, as my beloved has stated, there's a lot that's breaking down on a large scale, globally, politically, financially, economically, on and on. There's so much that's changing and in flux and also breaking apart. And so, with all this difficulty around me, I get excited. And it reminds me of one of my yoga teachers who every time she would love to put us in these really difficult positions, and we would stay. One of the classes I did with her, we would stay in these poses for 30 minutes. One standing pose, or like bow pose was one of the poses,
Wow.
for 30 minutes. And she would always say, if it's getting hard, get excited and use your breath. And it was such a powerful practice, and I definitely taking that into an embodiment in my life in context to what's going on right now. I get excited. The warrior inside of me that's like, oh my gosh, all that I'm unsatisfied with that's happening on a global scale as far as corruption is concerned and sustainability to our future. I get excited with the things going on right now because it's facilitating awareness and change. People are becoming more and more empowered and excited about wanting to make a change and wanting to be involved. And so I will just say that I'm grateful for the chrysalis and the difficulties, especially grateful for the difficulties as they are the sufficient motivation for me to continue to do something, to
Yeah.
participate.
And what we have going on here on the home front, and just where we find ourselves too, is that Amrit is now here full time, yay! And we have lots of work to do. And so this morning we had our weekly meeting to check in and just get clear on what it is that we're focusing on here on the home front. And because you and I are both visionaries and have, I believe, and most of the people that I associate with are optimistic about our future, even in the midst of all of this degradation and disillusion and destruction. I believe we came here for this time, and you and I have a shared vision and mission and focus in terms of how we want to show up fully in our own gifts. And him and I, Amrit and I, are still finding, our flow with how we're going to be serving and showing up here. And that does have a lot to do with this embodiment piece and really getting clear on what it is that our unique role and purpose is and how we can best serve. So just earlier today, just before we met, I was talking about like not wanting to be on the computer as much and not wanting to have to be so attached to using this medium. And and I am directly in conversation with a collaborator of mine who's joining my team to be able to help me to take some of the reins more with the online stuff, because I can do it, but it's not ultimately my dharma to be behind the scenes all the time, tinkering around and figuring out these systems online. So this person that's joining my team is going to help me to create more sustainability in the online space with systems and things, so I can show up more in the realms where I am most proficient. And then for you, yeah, just anything you want to say. And we're in this like this space right now of like finding our way to optimize our life, and to make some moves and to really get some progress. And so we're in this space of a dance, you know, of finding that for ourselves. And would you like to say anything to that, and just like what your experience of this is?
Yeah, gosh, there's a lot. Well, I just want to point out that there's a couple of birds making love in the trees over there.
Where?
And so I'm just enjoying
Oh, that's cool.
being in nature and having a home, and to be in my body and comfortable in my body and free, surrounded by nature. And I think that there's a real living technology and an internet, a galactic internet of all the information encoded in nature. And so I think that there's something important and something even lost in these cold machines that we call technology nowadays. And
Mm.
there's this important dance too between us going on right now. I'm actually happy that we're capturing that this in this moment, as I am generally a pretty fiery gentleman, and I have a lot of fire, and I want to, and physical prowess, because of the way that my body is compositionally, and because of the way that I've been raised and the trajectory that I've taken in this body. And I I hear my beloved in this moment talking about wanting to step more into her dharma and the things that may be getting in the way. And I find this to be like a common theme in the entrepreneurial world,
Hmm.
is, me as an entrepreneur trying to do all of my own advertisement, all of my own flyers, all of my own technical crap, which whatever, I say that lovingly, because my beloved is bringing something to the table that I don't have uh, a capacity, or rather that I get annoyed by. I just get annoyed by technology. And like, even right now, I wish I was in the yard working in this moment. And then we already had this discussion. And anyways, I got time. It's a beautiful day. I will be working in the yard after this. Um, and also, though, how can I be more sustainable at home so that I can be in the yard more? I'm sure technology has a place um, for me and for us to be able to share our dharma. And how then can we all work together in a way where we're sharing the responsibilities, so that I can be on my dharmic stage giving my dharmic gifts, that she can be on her dharmic stage giving her dharmic gifts, and not, mired in all of the little technical details that can we can't do on our own, and that every entrepreneur I know struggles with having to wear all of the hats, and something gets dropped. The ball is going to get dropped, and the overall professionality of it changes, and so it seems like, yeah, there's a theme right now as we're trying to really just figure out our dance. I don't want to go back and have to be off the property and giving all of my energy to building other people's homes and dreams, when I could be doing it here at home for myself and for us and for our future and for our community here. And so I see technology as a way for us to get the word out there, to make a difference in some manner, and yeah, to speak towards this odd kind of quagmire that's going on right now with technology. As the grid is breaking apart, and more people are having to rely on less physical ways of making money. And so something we're all navigating, and we're finding acute presence in this moment, this morning, and this transition.
Yeah, and I appreciate your willingness to explore this with me live. And yeah, this is really my whole mission, and as well as Amrit's, is to help us through this platform that is the center of the seven rays, help us to ground deeper and launch further. And so just that piece requires, from our visionary standpoint, we see the impact we could have from this homestead home front. And given that I have a lot of background with um, communications online, I've been before that I would write letters. Like I wrote letters before I found the internet and social media. Like I've always been wanting to reach out beyond my own local vicinity, while also still taking leadership roles. I was always involved with like the Girl Scouts growing up and in different leadership roles. And so while we have access to to the internet, in fact, our internet was out earlier this morning and I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to go live with this until like 5 minutes or maybe like a half an hour before. While we do have access to the internet, I like to share what we're up to. And one of the things I learned this from, I don't remember who's the source of this, but anytime we create content, or creating something, that is one of these three things is to keep in mind. And so it could be of value. Is it educational? Is it inspirational? Or is it entertaining, uplifting in some way? And so through the work that we're doing here, I've been starting to document Amrit getting out in the yard. And I feel like what we're doing here and the vision, it's like we're showing what we're doing as we're doing it. And we don't have it all figured out. And we're still finding our way. Did you want to say something?
Keep going.
And so,
which I think even capturing what we're doing is going to be educational, entertaining, and what was the other one?
Inspiring.
Inspiring.
Yeah. And so that's my intention, to use technology in these ways and to have these discussions. Because as soon as and I met, we found this shared vision that we had, this activated vision that we immediately started to prey on and co-create on, and so
connect with.
Yeah, and connect with. And we are actively calling the others into our field to co-create that. I love what you said earlier about this community piece of finding finding our, like, we can't do things alone anymore. The way of the lone wolf is over. And so the intention of this chat too, and maybe we can weave a little bit more in about how us serving from this place of our gifts and from what's called our medicine, or what I like to call, what I associate our medicine with, our thought leadership, like the combination of our skills, gifts, talents, and experience. That's just like a natural expression and of who we are, and serving our families, serving our communities, serving our clients, serving those in our circle of influence. Why it's so important for us to commit to that right now, and find and connect with others who are wanting to do the same, and in a co-creative fashion. You have anything to say about that?
Yeah, so much. Well, I just feel like communications is something naturally that you've always done and are still skilled at. And this is a great medium to facilitate communication, free and open communication. And then as far as the ground deeper, launch further ideal, that's a term that I have been embodying and gifting to anyone who wants to come and live here and participate with me on this property here at Center of the Seven Rays in my dreams. And I'm like right at this precipice right now where, in order for me to really do what I want to do, I need the team assembled here and for us, and that's a big part of the reason that she's come and moved in. and we're co-creating this together. And so the idea for me of, and living in communities and even living with, a few tribes up in Peru of natives, there's a level of each individual being supported by the whole in a manner that it's not that the lone wolf is disregarded or shoved aside. The lone wolf is held by the tribe in a manner that allows for the lone wolf to shine with a greater platform and to with greater support. And I found this in community in a way where I'm able to ground deeper and launch further. And so that was my whole. Um, that's a major part of the milestone of this mission that I have here. So ground deeper. When I come here, I'm not having to spend a bunch of money because I'm producing my own food. My mortgage is almost paid off. I'm paying very minimal to survive. And I've created an infrastructure in such a way that when I come back from wherever my mission is, I can come home and really ground deeply here, integrate everything, not having a home and space that I'm able to go within and be in nature and integrate so that I can create this chrysalis experience so that I'm able to launch ever further in my dreams. And with the community then, by having a community of like-minded individuals, we're all able to support each other in a way where, like, I have all of these physical assets right now that I've worked for. I can help my crew and my tribe and my team and anyone who wants to come participate by providing them with this platform so that they can launch further, so that we can all launch further together. And I do believe that there's something important about us coming together in small communal, sustainable, closed loop tribes, what I call islands of light, to begin bridging that model in a way that we can all, help each other live a more simple and free, uh, leisurely existence. And I think the importance of leisure is something we've lost. And why do I say that? Leisure leads to creativity. The more that I find leisure, the more motivated I am to do something. Well, gosh, now I've taken this time. I can integrate all that's happened to me in the last year. Now I have a mission. Now I have a message. Now I have a little thought seed that is cultivated and starting to grow because I've given it room to be in the soil long enough to where it's sprouting now and germinating, and I can and branch out. And I believe that the more that we have that leisure, the more creative, the more solution oriented, the less burnt out, the more energy and motivation we're going to have and inspiration to be able to do something rather than like, oh my gosh, all of the things, And so the grounding deeper, launching further feels to be an important ideal there. And yeah.
Mm, thank you for that. Yeah, and I resonate with that so much. And nature provides us the perfect opportunity to ground in, and we are committed and passionate about um, supporting others on your wherever you at in your path in your journey around this global awakening that is inevitably happening, and the sovereign living piece, which is really what Center of the Seven Rays is about, and to return to the source of our own heart centers as this a place of sovereign living, starting from within and co-creating with others, with community, and finding those who you feel an energetic alignment with, and if you don't have that in your own community, it's easy to find, just go, you could create it yourself, and that's what we're wanting to do here as well, and intending to do with our own events for our community. We live in kind of an isolated rural area that doesn't have much going on, so we physically are going to be offering that, and then also I have a online women's mastermind coming up that I'm just about to close the doors for, called Rebel Heart Creatrix Mind, and Amrit has a men's group in the works as well. Um, and this stoke heart fire that you have is something that I feel a lot of men can benefit from. And you want to say anything about that piece?
Yeah, I think that there's an embodiment factor as well, that I want to talk about, but I'll wait until that's more prompted. And as far as this, you know, what does it mean to be a man nowadays? That's unique and different for every human. And this is kind of an important, I feel like one of the number one, that's what I lead with generally in my beginning men's circles. And it's amazing to hear what it means to be a man. How do we define that? It's almost undefinable. There's a lot of factors. How did my mom treat me? How did my dad treat me? Were mom and dad present? How were my siblings? What culture am I brought up in? On and on and on. And there's I feel, for me, an important aspect. Okay, just to go into the fire element, the fire that I have inside of me as a warrior archetype, and this is the men that I like working with this in this warrior archetype. The fire is not something I can give to anyone, and we all have that fire. That's something within us, that spark within us that wants to create. And I speak towards this fire. It could be called irritation and anger, could be called frustration. And instead of fighting, because I have this warrior archetype that's like, man, put me in the game, coach. Put me on the streets. I want to fricking do something. And also, I can see it in my lineage. I have a rebel warrior lineage on my father's side, the Lairds. And so I don't want to fight, man. I've done that. I've been on the streets soapboxing and trying to make a difference. And I feel like I was just used as a Ponzi in this scheme where, we're crazy. And I really feel for all the people standing up in the truth movement right now. And also, I do believe that by dropping in my experience, by dropping the fight and turning that fight into purpose and transforming that fire into being fired up. I'm, are we just totally satisfied with everything going on right now? Or are you a little upset about something? Use that fire. How can we be fed up enough to be fired up enough to do something? Let's be solution oriented. And so with me and my particular teachings, and I very much take a feminine approach, a heart opening approach to being a warrior and being a man, to holding space for the inner feminine within our beings, to hold space for the feminine as it's rising, that energy, and that the yin and yang needing each other. And this is how we create. And I'm not saying good, bad, right, or wrong definition, etc. I'm just saying two coming together can create. And that's what I believe. And so for me as a man in this male gendered body, by cultivating my feminine, it calms that fire and gives my fire purpose. Rather than just being a rebel without a cause, I can use that fire to open my heart and to be sensitive and to expose myself. And it takes a lot more courage to take my armor off and expose where I hurt and am sensitive than it does to don armor and take life. And so I believe that it's a time of an awakening warrior. And for me, I want my awakened brothers around me who know that it doesn't mean you're weak to feel, and we can have just as much fire and passion and emotion as anyone, and that it's important to have that guidance of our feeling center and that yin aspect of us as a guidance, rather than being just hard and maybe dropping a bomb on someone because I don't have any feeling. But logically, I think that's the best thing to do. So we're save the world by dropping bombs. A man who has an open heart would never think that that's a solution. And so a big part of my journey is awakening the heart of the warrior for us men, and being inspired to, like, what greater purpose than to be protectors of this rising consciousness and the feminine within us and the feminist outside of us. And so that's a big part of my main purpose, is reigniting that fire and turning that fight into purpose, transforming that fire, cultivating it. It's important. We need our fire, man. We need to have this ambition and a purpose. What's our purpose? To hold space for heaven on earth. I think, what greater purpose do we have, And if we're having a difficult time finding purpose in this this nerfed up world, then maybe we can find purpose in creating a new one.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'm glad I prompted you to share your fire. And I want to acknowledge you for the ways that you have been channeling your fire into the home front. And yesterday, Amrit like took out these crazy wild. Are they raspberries? I've never
A
even seen their
Himalayan
fruit.
raspberry.
They're crazy,
They're triple overhead.
invasive, thorny. Yeah, he found a way to do aikido with them. That's quite impressive for me.
I feel like people probably have died in these bushes. They're so gnarly, you could
Yeah.
get caught in them and never get out. I swear to
Yeah,
you, it's
yeah.
insane.
Definitely, you know, they're intense, and so I just want to acknowledge you for all of your hard work and energy, and for getting out there yesterday and putting your
Fire.
your fire into embodied practice. And so tomorrow we're going to gather for an event that I'm doing called Rebel Heart Rally. And we're going to have more of a direct experience. We'll be able to connect in real time. We'll be able to see everyone. I'm going to do a little bit of a presentation around this piece about our medicine and the thought leadership, just to kind of unpack it a little bit. So you can really begin to see yourself in that sense of like, okay, here's a way I can show up more fully embodied in what I'm here to do. And so I want to empower everyone who's attending tomorrow to start to look at your medicine and to own it and to embody it and to share it and to put it on offer for your community, your family, those who are able to benefit from your really stepping fully into that. And it takes courage and it takes embodied action. And so Amrit is the best person I know to really speak to this. And if you would be willing tomorrow to lead us in a process around that, love it. And do you want to say anything as we wrap up here? The link to join us, it's totally free, is in the comments below. So feel free to join us. It's open to men and women. I'm starting to open up the container for all of our offerings for our public offerings to definitely be for all genders. So yeah, anything you want to close us out with about this embodiment piece?
Yeah, well, if anyone's going to be joining tomorrow, you can just be aware and prepared in any manner that you're capable of, and thinking about. Well, my specialty definitely is embodiment, so I'm going to be coming through with a little bit of a Gestalt and bioenergetic practice. This a physical way to begin to move emotion channel it into and out of the body. Because when we think things and when we feel things, it's going as a biochemical and a neurological reaction into our bodies. And so even if we're not doing anything, a thought and an emotion goes into and is stored in our physical bodies. And so Fritz Perl, Wilhelm Reich, Carl Jung, Ida Rolf, there's a bunch of other new thought leaders, Ernest Holmes, who began questioning, okay, well, how therapeutically, if emotion is and thoughts are being stored on a cellular level in our bodies, if it's getting in there, there's got to be a way to get it out. There's got to be a way to get it out. And we found, without getting too deep into the science, that we can't access the deepest core memories in our cells with our mind. We can't access it with our emotions. That through embodiment, through physical movement, we're able to circulate and actually release these time capsule experiences on a cellular level. And so I've been taught a bunch of techniques of how to get it out, to free our bodies so that we can be more free in our body to express from our mind, from our spirit, and that channel, to be a channel for that spirit, to be clear instead of having something be prompted in our mind and our emotions going, I wonder, maybe this, that, other stories. And now it's not in our body. Now we're just thinking and feeling rather than having it spontaneously come through and be embodied, to be a pure source channel, right? And so the techniques that I've been taught are how to get that energy back in the body, to get it out, to get the emotions out so that we can be more spontaneous and free in these physical vessels so we can have fun. And I want to hear you talk about embodiment. I'm prompting you in this moment to speak towards embodiment and thought leadership and our gifts. What did you call it?
Our medicine.
Our medicine.
Thank you, love. So, what I wanted to say to close, to kind of piggyback on this piece that you were sharing about your medicine and your gifts and what you are actively what you actively demonstrate in your own life, as well as encourage me to do, is that that's one of the, this is the very thing. Receiving from Amrit is helping me to get more into my fire, to access more of um my desire for transformation and change in an actualized way. I'm really good at talking about things and mulling them over in my head, and writing about them and speaking about them and talk, doing the more mental aspects. And I can talk a great game, but it's like when it actually comes down to me embodying it, that's my edge. That's my practice, and that's something I'm dedicated to doing, because I feel like I want to make the most out of this body temple form expression while I'm here on the planet. And so I have ways that I can benefit from more physical activity, from more hands in the soil, from feet on the ground. And so that's one of the beautiful ways that you have inspired me, and I continue to learn, and I'm committed to showing up in that way. And we all also have our own cosmic makeup of the ways that the elements show up in our charts, and in our in our kind of uh,
Pattern.
the patterns that we came into, generational, ancestral things. So one of the things, though, that I'm committed to do no matter what, is to see all of uh, our expression, even the parts of ourselves that we haven't preferred, or the things that we see, quote, out there that we don't prefer, and to take ownership for how is it me, really, to embody, even in the disillusion and the deconstruction and the falling apart in that's happening. It's undeniable that things are no longer working in the ways they have. So to take that back into myself and say, okay, well, how is it not working for me? And part of my process that I do, and that I will be doing with the Rebel Heart Creatrix Mind, it's a 12-month program. So we're going to really have some time to get into the meat of things and embody. But the first thing I want to do is kind of deconstruct these thought programs and these paradigms that we've bought into from birth, or even pre-birth, because in order to co-create a new way of being, or return to some of these ancient ways that have been with us, these universal truths that have been with us throughout all time, we both need to kind of look at ourselves and see, how have I been perpetuating um, a centralized way of being, how have I not been valuing myself, how have I um, been living my life in unsustainable ways, how have I believe that the pollution we see out there is just a symptom and an outcropping of the pollution that we're holding within our own psyches and selves. So that's really how, I feel like I'm kind of like a baby. Even though I know a lot, I still don't pretend to know everything. And so I'm still learning my own way through this. I'm experiencing kind of like this in every moment. I want to be open to rebirthing into greater levels of truth, deeper embodiment, and to utilize this life to the best of my ability to um, make an impact, and be make a difference in my own circles, with my beloveds, with the people that look to me for inspiration and information and collaboration, and then to ripple out from there. We each one teach one. Like, we each have our own unique medicine to bring, and there may be ways that we have been keeping ourselves small. May have We may have been dimming our light, or doubting whether it's possible. And a lot of this outside control and dominance paradigm is designed to have us question if we could actually really even make a difference and make an impact. And so these are some of the things that I feel are essential to look at with a lens of fierceness, and that is something I'm committed to doing more and more of with myself and the people that I work with. And so, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that was really beautiful.
And it wove in what I wanted to say to complete this chat for now. Thank you so much for being here with me.
I want to take a moment to honor you and recognize you in this moment with everyone as our witness, to let you know and just to remind you that you have an incredible embodiment fire. You've got, it's nothing I can give you. You already have it. You're cultivating it inside. And that I just see an incredible ability for you to embody, and this desire for this embodiment, and all of the incredible ways that we connect and have so much fun in these bodies. And I think then the only thing that I would add to that is I want to take radical responsibility. What is my role in perpetuating that, even if it's just feeling like crap, or feeling anger at whatever, or resentment at whatever is going on outside of there, then to turn it into a solution.
Yeah.
What can I do? What can I do right here, right now? I could go wrestle a gnarly weed that if I don't take care of, it's going to get worse. And then it becomes a beautiful process to where, I'm not out there just fighting this weed. I'm thinking, what ways are there weeds overgrown in my mind that I can deal with, that is wonderful for me to start picking, so that I can be planting the things that I want to be putting in there, right? And so to be solution driven and solution oriented in these bodies.
Thank
and
you.
it, and I want to say that the embodiment piece is simple for me. I have a body. If I'm incarnate at this time, I'm not only spirit, I'm not only mind, not only emotion, I am also body. And so, what does it mean to be a body? I want to create. Manifest comes from manos, from our two hands. So how do I manifest? With my hands and my feet. How do I pray with my hands and my feet? How do I pray with my body in action? And so I want to twist that embodiment piece, or marry that ideal, but as being a creator, that we are creators and co-creators upon this planet, and that we came into a body to be creators here, embodiment in the flesh, in form, to inform. And as we get bring in the more ethereal aspects of our being into this body, the more there's all of these magical, kind of mysterious unlockings that occur. And I believe that our greatest technology that is undiscovered, or maybe has just been mulled over or pushed aside because it's our greatest technology, is our body. And when we begin to coalesce a coherence between our mind, our hearts, our emotions, or our spirits into these bodies, we're unstoppable. We are creators. We are the solution that we've been looking for. And our bodies can take us to everywhere we want to be.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you so much. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in with us. I appreciate you. And just remember that heaven and earth begins in the still point of your own heart. And we love you and we appreciate you. Looking forward to seeing you again soon.
we love you. Thank you. Thank you.
Aloha.